Hello again, everyone. Glad that you are following my Jesus Journeys series. Episode 6 has to do with Jesus being introduced to his disciples. This was after the baptism by John. The purpose of this series is to demonstrate the logic of Jesus living at the Essene monastery at Qumran by the Dead Sea, instead of at Nazareth near the Sea of Galilee. The proof is shown by the length of each of the journeys, with the sum total of all the journey lengths for the traditional Jerusalem-centered locations being almost 10 times greater than the more logical Qumran-centered locations. While following the simulations that I have built using Google Maps API, the great discrepancies of distances with the traditional journeys will give an opportunity to reevaluate other flawed interpretations of the life and teachings of Jesus. Setting up the journey from Bethabara to Mazin on the Dead Sea. Now setting up the journey from Bethabara to Bethsaida on the Sea of Galilee. Ready, set, go, and they're off! In the Qumran-centered journey, Jesus is leaving Bethabara for Mazin on the Dead Sea. In the Jerusalem-based journey, Jesus is leaving Bethabara for Bethsaida on the Sea of Galilee. Of course, Jesus' destination had to contain water, because he uses the expression fishers of men, and it is implied that Peter and Andrew were fishermen. But actually, Peter and Andrew were fishers of men, for there was this ceremony where men would go into the water and be pulled out by nets onto the boat, as if they were being rescued by Noah as sinners, and after this they would be baptized by the priest, who was standing on the jetty, appearing to be walking on water. Jesus has now reached his destination at Mazin on the Dead Sea. We will now switch to the Jerusalem-based Jesus on his way to Bethsaida on the Sea of Galilee, which is already in progress. It can be noted in John that Andrew and the other disciple, who was actually John Mark, the beloved disciple, were the ones who left John the Baptist for Jesus. And obviously Andrew brought Peter with him, and John Mark brought Philip. The other two were James and John, who were actually illegitimate children of the Emperor of Rome, and they had been adopted by Helena, who was the consort of Simon Magus. And thus Jesus acquired them because when he married Mary Magdalene, who was the daughter of Helena, they then became brothers of his wife. Jesus is now 30 hours into the journey, and will jump ahead to 65 hours, where Jesus is just at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee, and he has to walk around the eastern edge of the Sea of Galilee to get to Bethsaida. Jesus has now reached his destination at Bethsaida, and it should be noted that Bethsaida is not actually on the Sea of Galilee. It is just north of the Sea of Galilee. Now, whether this was true in older times or not is unknown, but perhaps this is proof that Mazin on the Dead Sea is the actual area where Jesus taught the disciples. It took 140.91 kilometers and 78.28 hours. For the Qumran-based Jesus, it was only 25 kilometers and just under 14 hours. I hope you enjoyed this Jesus Journey animation, and if you would like to watch more of them, please go to the playlist at the top of the screen.